I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching a new show, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. We should talk about if we know anything about this series, and if we do, what. Okay. Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I have a distinct memory of visiting a friend when they were in college, and at night, he was in his bed, I was sleeping on the floor, and then his roommate to our right was sleeping in his bed. And he was saying how much he loved Fullmetal Alchemist. And then my friend was like, yeah, I like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood better. And I was like, I don't know what this show is, but they are telling me that I should watch it. I never watched it until now. My understanding of what the difference between the two, I could be totally wrong. I was just told this is a loose comparison, is like Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Z Kai, where one adheres more to the manga and one was being put out as along with the manga's release, so they had to include filler. I don't know if that's true or not. I also am pretty certain that I know what two characters look like in this show. I don't know their names, and I don't know how impactful they are to the story. That is where my knowledge ends.
Okay. I was coming into this with a pretty similar idea without concrete evidence of what the difference between Fullmetal Alchemist and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood would be, which is just from other knowledge of other shows getting maybe a remake that's more authentic to the manga material a couple years after the initial release. And I also know what I believe two of the characters look like. And I also feel like I can understand maybe a little bit of what the plot might be about by the title, but mainly the word alchemist. And then I guess Brotherhood, I also know what Brotherhood means. So maybe I can get some things from that. Maybe they're comrades. Maybe it's like a little looser with the definition.
We also have notebooks in front of us to keep notes for names and ideas to talk about during our discussion portion of the video. We also have up to 2 weeks early access over on our Patreon, as well as full lengths. And since this is the first episode of a new series or season, that's available to everybody down below. So if that interests you, check it out. If not, let's just get into it. Are you ready?
Yes.
Sweet. I'm so excited.
Some nice chalk art.
The Freezing Alchemist. Boy is here. This is one of the characters I know. Those are the two that I've seen before. Ow. Brotherhood. Usually it's you. I've definitely heard the song before in some anime playlist. What do you think? Father? They look pretty similar.
Roy Mustang! Are we in for some fun battles?
Did you get the kind of feeling that whatever we're operating in is like a police force, or like a, you know, we're trying to apprehend the Freezing Alchemist?
We're catching them. Some sort of police or like military police, which is the infernal.
It's the same design as the chalk, right?
Okay, so he has ice powers, freezing.
Oh my god, is that just death?
I wonder if it has to have the symbol on it for him to be able to do it.
Spear! Whoa!
Okay, so you do normally need the circle.
That was electricity.
How dare.
Metal hand. Armor. Auto. Does he have a legend about him? Is he renowned? Yes!
You are the Fullmetal Alchemist! Okay.
Great.
Awesome.
そっちじゃないのか。
僕弟のアルフォンスです。
Alphonse Al.
誰がどっちみちゃ
Full point of view shot.
Don't underestimate a
離れ
run.
の錬金術師と呼ばれる男がこんな小さな子供だったとは。
It's gonna make him angrier.
たとえそうであっても許そうわ。
How old do you think he is?
さすが鋼の錬金術師エドワード・エルリックさん、ご協力ありがとうございます。
いいえ、僕は弟のアルフォンス・エルリックで。ったくせっかちなんだから。
Oh no.
Oh, I don't
More
feel
water.
good. I don't. Oh.
Circle on his hand.
Like a smoke screen, steam screen to get away. Okay.
くそなめやがって。
相手を甘く見てたようだな、鋼の。年長者の言うことは素直に聞いとくものだ。へいへい。さて、名前はアイザック・マクドゥーガル。
Isaac McDougal.
元国家錬金術師、氷結のアイザックと呼ばれ
Former
る。
state.
元。
そうだ、イシュバール殲滅戦の時、我が軍の一員として活躍した。
Interesting. Tell me more about this war.
戦後彼は国家錬金術師
I
の
feel
称
like
号を返上し、
whatever happened in the
さ
war
らには
made
反体
him.
制運動に身を投じた。
Yeah, that would make sense.
Anti-establishment movement.
場合によっては殺さねばならないだろう。
俺は殺すのなんかごめんだ。
好きにしたまえ。
Not killing people.
我々が求めているのは君の実績だけだ。体を元に戻す手がかりは見つかったのかね。
そんな暇くれねくせに。
氷結の錬金術師の身柄拘束とはとんだ命令で災難だったな。おお、もしかして君たちエルリック兄弟か。いやー、最年少の国家錬金術師に会えるとは
The youngest
光栄
state
だな。俺はマースヒュー中佐だ。
Too many names.
僕は弟のアルフォンス・エルリッ
It's
クで
because
す。
he's cuter. That's why they think
そ
he
っ
is.
ちが鋼の錬金
So
術師
Al is an estate
言う
alchemist.
なよ、近い。
ヒューズ、
おう、
用がないなら直ちに帰りたまえ。
君たちどうせ宿決まってないんだろ。
Live
だっ
with
たら
me.
うちに来いよ。
Aw.
Love it. Oh no.
妻のグレーシアと娘のエリシアだ。
He's proud of his family.
エリシアちゃ
What a good dad.
ん。そうか。調理。
Aww.
今日のお客さん、エルリック兄弟だよ。
エリシアちゃん、俺はエドワード・エルリック。
Edward, insecure about
アルフォン
height.
ス・エルリック。弟なの。
お兄
It's
ちゃん
really
な
a
のになんで
complex.
ちっちゃいの？
にしよう。グレーシアの料理はうまいぞ。
Can Al eat?
That's a good question.
さあ食べてくれ。
Can he taste? If he
いた
can
だ
eat.
きます。うまい。
He seems like a sweetie.
たくさん食べてね。
アルフォンスは鎧着たままだと食えないよな。
これはその。あるは今錬金術の修行中で。よし、今日も俺が2人分食うからな。任せろ任せろ。
Okay.
氷結の錬金術師と
I have a
私
bad
が手を
feeling
組
about
む
like something happening to
このグレ
Hughes.
ンの錬金術師が
キンブリ
The
ー、
Crimson
共にブラッ
Alchemist.
ドレーを。お前もイシュバールでは見たはずだ。あの地獄を。ブラッドレーが私たちに何をさせたか知っているはず
Oh,
だ。
damn.
だからお
I
前
mean, it
は
was
軍の
called extermination.
誤解しないでください。私はあなたみたいな高尚なことは考えていま
He
す。
also has a circle
あ
on
い
his
つらを
hand.
殺したのは殺したかったからに過ぎませんよ。
ご苦労さん。
Jesus. They just break into pieces.
あの二人のことを考えていたんでしょ？
Fatherly
国家錬金
instincts.
術師といえば世間からは軍の犬なんて呼ばれてる
But
存
they're
在だ。
kids.
あの年でそんなの昭和されてると思うとな。
What a good man.
I know something horrible is gonna happen to him.
Stop.
兄さん、
Don't
起きてる。
conjure it into being.
グレイシアさんの機種、お母さんのみたいだったね。ああ、うまかったよ。それなら体を取り戻したら食べるものリストに加えなきゃ。お、加えとけ加えとけ。兄さん、早く元の体に戻りたいね。そうだな。
What
We're both missing something.
needs to be met to get our bodies back?
あと一つでブラッドレーは地獄に落ちる。
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Whoa, it's like Soul Calibur.
Oh, it's like different voice actors doing
That's
that.
awesome.
It's like you're loading up a video game.
Damn.
水蒸気爆発だ。水は急激に温度を上げると爆発的に膨張する。人体は 70% 水だからな。
Oh.
急ごう。奴を早く捕まえないと。
That is horrible.
I know, when I think about like water bending to then like blood bending from Avatar, stuff like that.
この連星をかわすさすがですな、アイザック殿。その声、アームストロング。
Armstrong. We're getting so many people.
Gauntlets, I love it.
黄金の錬金です。アレックス・レイ・アームストロング。
Whoa.
It's like one little hand.
ものを切り裂く。
There were like 3 of his heads flying.
水筒の水か。さっきあれ。
追いかけよう、兄さん。
行くぞ、エロリック兄弟。
久しぶりだな、氷結の。
ロイ・マスタング。いや。
Flame. Ooh, freezing versus flame.
イシュバールにいたのは腐りきった軍とその犬どもだ。
Oh.
所詮は炎、水には勝てぬ。
God, that's so
No, that's
fucking
cool.
cool.
You were right about the heads. They're like stone heads.
よしよしよし。
そこまでだ。こんな路地で何をしていたか気になって戻ってみたらビンゴだぜ。
逃げよう。
Could it like launch something
逃
massive?
げる必要ない。
What is significant about this circle?
Does it? Oh.
Oh, he has them. Is it creating like a barrier?
同時にこんな連星反応。
ありえない。まさか。
What is it?
これは。
賢者の石。
Philosopher's Stone.
It's gonna freeze everything?
何？大気中の水分を。
Oh shit.
お前はこの国が何をしようとしているのか知っているのか。
知るか。そんな
Who
こと。
cares?
He has his own goal.
私のやろうとしていることがわかるはずだ。
知らねえっつってんだろ。
兄さん、この人の錬金術。
ああ。 おいあんた、賢者の石持ってんだろ。
You have one.
わかんねえこと言ってる場合かよ。
Does it just increase his power potential?
Is it something we want to get our bodies back? Carve that ice sculpture!
Oh shit!
氷の壁が
繋がっていく。
まさかあの人。
Oh, it's a...
It's a big version of what's on his hands in the ground.
氷漬けにするつもりか。その間に冷星人を
壊すのだろ。はい、わかった。
The fact that they have so much trust in
今こそ
them
我が氷
already.
結により貴様を葬り去る。
God, so cool.
兄さん。
Oh shit! Okay, Al can move with his head off.
So like, does every piece of the armor have a circle?
魂を定着させたというのか。そうか、お前ら禁忌を犯したな。
Committed the taboo.
錬金術師最大の禁
Human
忌。
transmutation.
人体錬成をやったんだな。
くそ、こんなはずじゃ。くしょー。持っていかれた。
What the fuck?
弟なんだ。返せよ。
That's with his blood?
Is this what takes his arm?
He was missing a leg in that
今
flashback.
地獄へ一歩踏み出したぜ。
Holy shit! Oh!
諦めな。使おうにも水がないぜ。
人体の 70% が何でできているか。
Al doesn't have water in his body.
That was blood, wasn't it? Like frozen
Yeah,
blood.
he can use his own blood. That's fucking crazy, dude.
この国の姿が。
あれ、あいつを追うぞ。なめたまで。
Targeting the arm that's so real.
やったか。またか。
He freezing. Boy,
私の炎をなめるな。
まったく。
what was that?
無能は雨の日だけにしてくださいね。
More gloves, maybe?
Does it like use it up?
Whoa!
Bradley, that's who he was looking for.
Just a selective red. Look.
That's cool.
覚悟。
That guy doesn't look intimidated.
Jesus. No alchemy? Was it just his sword?
Is that the stone? The philosopher's stone?
残念ですね。
How he died.
了解しました。
Oh! What a man!
Nice. And we've saved the city.
What?
キングブラッドレー大曹と。
King.
おお、ご苦労だったね。そうか。
To have like an
君の助
actually
太刀ができ
powerful
たとは。
king
これは息子にいい自慢話が
Good
できる。
story for my son.
and a prince.
俺は連星人を破壊しただけだ。
So is Roy's son?
犯人は大総統が倒され
He
た。
sneezed.
その大総統がお前の手柄と言ってるんだ。昔から言うだろう。年長者の言うことは素直に聞いとくもんだって。
結局賢者の石かどうかも分からずじまいだったね。
ああ。
We don't know if that's what it was.
Yeah.
しかないな。
エドワード・エルリック入院したと聞いて飛んできた。
What a sweet man!
入院中の不良を慰めてやろう。
Perfect.
温まるだろうこの筋肉に。遠慮するのを触ってるぞ。
Do you think he gained those muscles just to help people?
そう、アイザックは死んだのね。人柱になれたのに惜しいことしたわ。で、賢者の石は
He overused
So that
it.
was it.
グラトニー、変なもの食べちゃダメでしょ。
Named after sins?
リオールはうまくいってるわ。
Lior.
始まるわよ。もうすぐに。
God, I love gothic churches with cool women in them. Oh, this is so cool.
Cute. Encircled. Cute.
Do you think it's intentional that the line art is chalked like what they used to draw the circles?
Totally. They seem close.
With the brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they have a cute relationship.
Yes!
Yes! It wouldn't have been right if he hadn't taken his shirt off. Cute. I love how the symbol then became the cloak and then he's wearing it.
And there's Gluttony.
We just saw her and Gluttony.
Cat.
Oh, and it's like they were drawing it.
Okay, that was Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood Season 1, Episode 1. I have so many questions about how alchemy actually works. Outside of this episode, I'm gonna be upfront. I don't know a lot about the history of alchemy. I don't know a ton, therefore I can't use any knowledge to try to make sense or, like, I don't know, understand what the magic system within the show would be, but it seems incredible. It seems like my mind's going a thousand different places, right? We have Isaac utilizing it on the ground and on his bare hands, whereas you'll have somebody like Roy Mustang, right? Using, like, having
Gloves.
the circle on his gloves, and then you'll have, like, multiple being put on the ground in the city to create an overarching circle, and then you have on the inside of Al's armor, you have them made with blood. Like, I wonder if one way of putting it on your hand would be more beneficial than another. Would having it tattooed on your palm be more powerful than having it just on something as fickle as a glove? If you have it on gloves, is there like a quantity of how much you can use before you have to replace that glove? Could that be seen as a benefit, you know?
The freshness of it. It's almost like, does it hold a certain amount of power and then you've used up that power, in the same way that we get the idea that at the very end we get confirmation that what we saw that was like almost this little pearl object that then disappeared was probably this thing called the Philosopher's Stone, and we get the language that it was used up. Like, it was like used to so much so that it now does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
And could that be a similar comparison to why we would need fresh gloves? And also, I really am interested, like you are, like, if it's actually written on the palm of your hand, does that make it stronger? What if you used it up? If there's the possibility that you can use up the power that is within this marking.
Yeah.
What does it mean if it's literally attached to your body?
It's called a transmutation circle, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, is there more of a give and a take in terms of your own flesh and blood, in terms of your own soul, if it's literally attached to your body?
Yeah.
Is it more dangerous? Is it more taboo if it's actually on your skin?
But it's interesting because on the opposite side of things, we have Edward being able to utilize alchemy without transmutation circles.
Right.
So then that, like, takes me to, how would that be possible? We see Edward having a missing leg, pleading for his brother back, and then we know that he doesn't have an arm anymore. In pleading for his brother back, would he give up, consciously or not, his arm? And then in some roundabout way, getting his brother back and having, like, are these metal arms like prosthetics, or are they birthed from alchemy themselves itself? You know what I mean?
Right. I feel like I think my read right this moment is that it is like almost like a magic infused prosthetic that becomes what you could use as if it was your real arm, even though it's not, even though it's metal. And I think that from what we saw with the flashback, my deduction would be that the arm was given up in order to get the soul into the armor.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, is that a fair trade? Is someone's arm equivalent? Like, at the very beginning of this episode, we had a phrase be said and then literally be reiterated back by a different character to really emphasize the importance of those two words together, and that is equivalent exchange.
Yeah.
Is an arm an equivalent exchange for a soul?
Dude, it's so philosophical almost, because like you could go one of two ways with it. You could say like, oh, well, of course an arm would never hold up and weigh the same on a scale as like a living person's whole body or what's in them. But then you have to think about like intention behind giving up, what it actually means. Like, would it mean more for a painter to give up their hands because their hands have been honed and so important to them and their craft to be so meticulous, so giving up their hands might mean more in some regard.
And it could be also thought of as more of an equivalent exchange because you're not getting a body back. It's not like you're giving up your arm for a literal child in complete flesh, blood, soul intact, everything back. You're getting just this thing that you probably can't even grasp with your hands, and then getting it back to infuse into something that is not even organic or real. which probably helps even it out more because you're giving something that's real, concrete, and so a part of you, and you're giving it up. It's a sacrificial kind of idea.
So I was wondering if Al, in being returned to Edward, returned as the suit of armor, but I think seeing the blood inside the suit would mean that suit would need to have been present at the time to have been used by Edward to write with blood.
Right, like, I agree with you, but also, like, why did they just have a random suit of armor?
Man, people have things. I wish I had a suit of armor.
To it, like, their father was a knight or something.
That would be devastating. Like, that Al would be within
the armor that used to house the body of, like, a family member.
Yeah. It also could be, I wish I had a suit of armor. If it was available to me and I could afford it, I probably would buy it.
Have one.
Yeah, that'd be
I'd be scared if I had a suit of armor in my house. I would be scared in the middle of the night when I'm getting up to go get a snack that my life would turn into a Scooby-Doo episode, and I'd be walking past that suit of armor and I'd hear a little creak and I'd be like, nah, I'm just imagining things. It's
I would
the
be
cat.
in the armor.
And then it would come and attack me.
I would be wearing it. I wouldn't attack you, but I would definitely wear a suit of armor.
So if I heard a creak in the middle of the night, it's basically that you're fulfilling some sort of nighttime fantasy where you are just standing in a dark hallway inside of a suit of armor.
I would not be standing. I would be...
Sitting?
No. Regardless. Okay. So, I want to talk about Isaac, the freezing alchemist.
Okay.
At about 9 minutes into the episode, he is talking to Kimberly.
Kimberly, yeah.
The Crimson Alchemist. Firstly, I think they said the Crimson Alchemist. We're given, like, the Freezing Alchemist.
The Flame
Alchemist. The Flame Alchemist. Easy to deduce.
And then Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yeah. Easy to deduce what their, element would be. Mm-hmm. What does Crimson Alchemist have?
I feel like it has to do...
Anything that's red? Like...
You're either gonna go blood, you're gonna go flame, like fire. What else is red that fits within... I feel like those are the only two things I can think of at the moment. I could be totally missing something obvious.
Going off of that, though, Look, people like Isaac are drawn to do very large-scale, horrific things because of, like, delusion, because of being, having a case of revenge and you did this to me, and that being somewhat substantiated from a certain person's point of view. I'm trying to bring up into question, is Isaac's, like, what he's told us, right? The lines I think of, you must have seen the hell that took place in Ishval. And then after that, he said, you must know what Bradley made us do there.
Uh-huh.
That's why you kill those officers, right? And then we get Bradley, two sides of him. One right up facing Isaac, and then how he's interacting with the brothers.
Which seems so much more friendly and soft. I think that, so you brought up, like, is this a delusion, a point of view from this singular person? I take you back to the very beginning of the episode. We're given the language that it was called a war of extermination. There is no positive way to slice the word extermination in my mind at this moment in hearing it. And
he took part in the Ashvalan War of Extermination.
I feel like they've done two things with this first episode that are incredibly innovative and different in terms of a way to initiate a storytelling process, which is a villain character that can possibly be sympathized with by the viewer. Like, if it is, we know that corruption can take place in the world. The military can do, war crimes can happen, horrible things happen in a war. If there's the word extermination, that could lend to different ideas that are horrifying. Obviously, you take someone's side or point of view with a grain of salt, especially when the storytelling process is just starting. Like, someone's POV, we can't fully believe them and trust them. But when another character on the opposite side is telling us that the war was called the War of Extermination, it lends me to believe that, like, across the board, everyone agrees there was horrific things that happened to some extent. Who they believe the perpetrators were might differ, but they at least believe that it was an awful thing.
But who knows, right? Because we were told like several times this episode by Edward himself that he doesn't know about this shit.
Right, but
like,
he's a kid.
Yeah, but calling, like, what if nomenclature outside of the military, it's not the Ishvillain War of Extermination, it's just the Ishvillain War, and it's, like, not actually known how...
Well, what that lends to is more corruption.
Exactly.
If you're swaying how the public views an event by only within the military calling it a certain thing.
And then Isaac, he's had his own experiences, but he is so far detached from King Bradley and what has gone into his decision making, whether nothing and he's a fucking genocidal maniac or whatever he's been through and what has shaped his point of view of why he wants people to do what he's commanding them to do. So many layers to it.
And yeah, like you said, with bringing up that, starting this conversation with the fact that Isaac was speaking to this other prisoner, Kimberly, and almost believing in, at least at first, that this other person, Kimberly, is feeling the same moral obligation for vengeance. And that guy was like, no, I just want to kill people. But to finish my thought of bringing up the possible sympathetic villain, the other element of this first episode that is incredibly different in terms of storytelling, other than, sympathetic villain or possible sympathetic villain being introduced, is the protagonist is already endeared and trusted by the military and the king.
Yeah.
That is unheard of, I feel like, in other stories that I've seen.
My mind, like, at the end of the episode instantly went to, okay, they know how capable, they're just using them, and that's why they're being so trusted. But I don't know.
Well, we do start out the episode with the language of using at least Edward to the best of your ability as almost like a tool or a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the military's using them, and obviously different characters within the military are going to have their own, connection or feelings on the matter. Some of them might actually be more authentically endeared, and others might be a little more manipulative with how they feel and how they treat the brothers. But we know also from this episode that the brothers don't really care, maybe, about being used. They have their own goals, and maybe they see this as a stepping stone to get to what they want to get to.
So I wanted to talk about that, because it's one thing to not care if they're being used because of their goal. But as that's, going forward, like it or not, if the brothers learn more information about the other side of things, or what Isaac was alluding to, how much, like, moral obligation, or where do they stand in terms of letting bad things happen to good people versus their own goal of getting their bodies back,
right? The priorities there.
Also, I want to understand where you're at with the idea of getting a body back. Is, like, once given, can you get anything back? It seems by the nature of Al's presence, you can get something back, but something very different. Like, you're giving his physical body and you're getting back his soul. If you've given something like a body, is it somewhere that can be retrieved through alchemy or something else, or is it gone forever? Is the goal here even achievable?
Right. Like, are things that are given through alchemy kept in almost this stasis, other realm, other dimension, that they can then be grabbed and brought back?
Like the center of a Monopoly board. Like, is it, like, there? Is it in a pot,
Is it in a pot somewhere that can be grabbed? Also, like, what would you have to give up to get the actual body back? Child.
Can you... Okay, we got the ultimate taboo. Or
we got human
transmutation
and ultimate taboo of alchemy.
Can you... When Edward was doing what he did that made him lose his brother in the first place, was Al consenting to be used in human transmutation? Or can you non-consensually use somebody in human transmutation? Like, could you trap people and use them use them as sacrifice for your own gain through alchemy?
Probably, and that's why it's taboo. But I think that what adds a maybe issue with this goal that Edward has is that he's already stated for us that he's not interested in killing people. So if we're thinking an equivalent exchange would be a literal someone's body being sacrificed, would it, if we already have the soul, what if it's a body of someone who's already passed? What if it's an empty body that's basically a vessel that we could then... But I feel like he would want his brother's literal body back.
Yeah.
As it was.
Do you think that his brother can age or like would age mentally?
Soul? Like, mentally, yeah. Like this.
Like, I imagine his voice would never deepen because of organically missing.
Because you're not going through like puberty.
Yeah, but obviously through time, because Edward is physically here and looks human. I would imagine that 100 years hasn't passed since this happened, and it is within the past, however old Edward looks.
I don't know how... He's called a kid and a child still, and small.
What does the Philosopher's Stone do?
It seems like it just is an amplification. Maybe it's purely just amplification of your own original power. Maybe it gives power that you might not have already had instead of amplification. All I know is that Isaac used his up. How many exist? How hard are they to obtain?
He overused it, right?
Yeah, he overused it. Which made
How many exist is a great question.
Mm-hmm. Like, also, is this... are we being painted this picture of... He might have been having his own goals and his own reasons for fighting, but is there a villain kind of government in itself, a villain community, a person at the top of this hierarchy that is almost giving pawns these stones in order to create more havoc for their own goal?
Interesting.
Like an organization. That's the word I was looking for. An organization of villains with someone sitting on top.
Do you think something bad's gonna happen to Hughes?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want
They give me this, like, nice father figure. He is bringing the kids in to stay with him because he hates that they're being called dogs of the military and they're so young. And he's a father himself with his daughter, and he seems like a good father and a loving husband.
It could just have been a device to show us that Al wishes he could have food, or give us that idea.
It could have just been a device to give us more information about the brothers in terms of their family life, but also Al's physical makeup.
Did they just, like, they don't have a home here then?
Seems like no. Nomadic? Maybe they just got here? How could they already be...
But they're renowned, you know?
Yeah, how could they already be endeared and trusted by the military if this is, like, such a new development that they didn't even have housing here or a place to stay? When did they arrive here? Where have they been staying?
I love Armstrong. He's a great character. Roy's cool, too.
Armstrong's, like, little hair wisp in the front of his head has me giggling when I see it. It's so silly.
I really need to know more about the glove thing with Roy, because having to have somebody follow you around with a briefcase of gloves could be a substantial nerf. You know, why can't you have them on your body? Does he have extra pairs on his body? What happens if you stack them on your hands?
That's why it makes me think it's taboo to have it on your body. Why the fact that we have Armstrong have it on the like metal gauntlets that are on his fists and stuff like that. Like maybe it's against the rules to have it actually on your body because of whatever that might mean you're giving up.
Did we see where if King Bradley had anything?
All we saw was the sword. From what I remember, he has a cool eye patch and a sword.
I don't see it on the sword. It could be on like the hilt.
Yeah, there could be something on the sword, but then again, it just looks like he literally kills him without alchemy, which is pretty profound to have like this world and society that seems like it's probably ruled by battles between good and evil alchemists.
Yeah.
That someone who might not even have the capability is able to still be strong within this world. Is everyone capable of alchemy?
Is his, what's the circle called? Transmutation circle on his eye. Is it under his eye patch?
Like under the eye patch?
Yeah.
Cool.
I got excited about that possibility. Imagine instead
like him
of like
pulling
the pupil,
back the eye patch and there's like some glowing eye under there.
Glowy eyes.
I could see that.
All right, that's all I have for the first episode. You?
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.